Ich glaube, das passt in den 2 Jahren. Wie sieht es eigentlich im Kreislauf? Es ist wie immer Auslauf, Schnitt, Kreisel.
One, okay?
Ja, genau. Da fahren wir. So, jetzt passt mal kurz Obacht. Wir haben natürlich immer ganz viele Menschen hier in Winterberg, die mitarbeiten, besondere Funktionen.
Da hat jemand Kaffee gefunden.
Welcome to the BMW IBSF World Championships here at Winterberg in Germany. It is day 2 of weekend 2 and all eyes on bobsleigh because we are about to have the first 2 heats of the 4-man bobsleigh competition, and then this afternoon the final 2 runs in the 2-woman championship, which yesterday delivered a new track record in the very first heat. 22 sleds from 13 nations set to do battle. David Addison and Adele Nicol looking forward to what should be a really great competition, Adele, on a great track.
Yeah, this is a fantastic track. Although not overly difficult, it is difficult to be quick, and you have to be slick up the top here to keep any speed. And straight away into a very tricky corner 0. This is where you can see races lost. If you skid out of this corner, it's game over. So you have to keep nice and still through here. Coming out of 1 a little early, so you go into 2 a little bit late. You want to cut through this corner so you're not taking a huge wave. Coming into 3, keeping nice and quiet up here, giving away as little time as possible. You need to come out of 4 fairly strong to avoid that tap and create some pressure. Around 5 into corner 6, setting yourself up for the Kreisel. In the Kreisel here, it's a fine line between not overdriving but keeping a fairly flat line through. Up into 8, setting yourself up for the fast part of the track now into 9. 9 can be a tricky corner and it does catch some people out, and it does set you up for the entrance of 11. If you can keep a nice line through 11, your labyrinth should be fairly smooth, and we do see some rocky lines out of 13. And here we see corner 14, and we have seen a few victory rolls here, so hopefully less today than there was in the women's.
It's been a spectacular few days, whether it's been in the women's competition yesterday or in the training runs. We've got a few accidents, as you say, coming off that final curve. Is this going to be another rather German-dominated event like the 2-woman was yesterday, when you've got this battle between Hansi Lochner and Francesco Frederick? Huge support for Francesco Frederick up at the start of the run, as you see Issam Amor, another of the German crew members, making his way ready to do battle. Team's getting ready up at the top of the hill.
There's Lochner looking happy as always. He's always very chilled before racing.
Yes. Brad Hall, who's going to start quite a long way back in the rankings today, but that's because of having to miss World Cup events, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, due to injury, the crew did miss a few races at the start of the season, and they are getting back into form now. But obviously in Altenburg, they decided to withdraw from the race due to the safety reasons. You know, that's really important to them to make sure they're standing up for what they believe is right, and also kind of supporting their teammates of the Swiss team, you know, that had their horrible injuries. So, yeah, the boys are going to be starting fairly low down on this list today.
Well, this is how they will go. Francesco Frederick will start. Of course, he is the reigning world champion, and he's about to set sail, if you like, in his 100th Tier 1 four-man bobsleigh event. It's been an amazing record, and it could add yet another gold medal come the end of the weekend. We've lost one Romanian crew. Brad Hall, as we say, will go 17th. Martin Krantz will be the last one to go. But we are about to get the World Championships underway for the four-man bob competition. First thing to do is look for that start time, of course. The start record, 4.96, held by Francesco Frederick. And we are in business. This, the first crucial part of the run.
Yeah, the load can determine your velocity, and that was nice and slick, and he has handled corner zero, lovely.
5.00 then for the start time, and then downhill plunges Francesco Frederick with Torsten Margis, Alexander Schuller, Felix Stroud making his World Championship debut as the brakeman.
Yeah, it's an interesting format with World Champs, obviously starting with top of the world rankings, so the first run of the first heat really does set the precedence for the rest of the field.
17.7 to the first split, 27.7 to the next through the Kreisel.
Yeah,
good so far.
Yeah, it's looking very nice up top. Frederick always drives the top of the track, very nice. And then if you do make a few mistakes down the bottom, it doesn't cost you as much. But this is looking really nice all the way down here. Very nice. Yeah, you know, for a four-man bob as well, that's come off fairly smooth. So fantastic first run there. Track record.
Wow, just like we had in the women's competition yesterday. First one down the run, new track record, 53.12. Well, that throws down the gauntlet to the rest, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it just shows that the ice is great. There is a fantastic opportunity here for teams to be laying down some really fast times.
Right, pressure is then on the opposition. Emils Sipoulis will be the next to go. But let's have another look at the start here from Francesco Frederick's team. An absolute masterclass, really, in how to put together a run. And then the evidence at the end, a new track record. Barely out of line at all, was it?
Yeah, I know. And when you see the replays and they're really struggling to show you mistakes, you know that it was a good run.
So, celebration in the camp. And that's only the first of 4 runs, of course. All of them trying to be in that top 20 because the final heat tomorrow afternoon will just be for the fastest 20. So, Emils Sipoulis will go next. Joint second last year with Brad Hall. They tied on times. And joint World Cup winner at Altenburg 2 weeks ago. So he's got a good track record in the Worlds. He's got a good track record of late within the World Cup as well. But now, of course, a track record to aim for.
Yeah, and this Latvian team, they always throw it down on the start. They will always give us something that we can enjoy watching. You know, they are fantastic athletes.
So 53.12 is the time to beat. Here comes the push, and let's see how the start time compares with that of Frederick, which was a 5.00, and they are 600ths down already.
Yeah, and you know, a 5.06 is still a very respectable start time, but you're comparing it, you know, to the best in the world.
True. But now, of course, Emils Sipoulis is going to try to rebuild this run, if you like, and find the speed, and that doesn't really come until, what, round about turn 9. Then the track really drops.
Yeah, you can see that he was already 2100ths down at that clock, so your start really does impact the time that you can lose down this track. But yeah, second best speed, but he is only the second sled to go, so he just needs to put down a good run so that he holds up in that top group.
Looks okay, doesn't it, coming through the labyrinth, heading towards the end of the run. The Zielkurve is going to be the last one that loops you round up towards the finish line. He's 4/10 of a second down, so it's not going to be stellar. A little bit wide, clatters off the wall, and a 53.58. Could have been a lot worse, but a lot of that time really was junked off the start.
Yeah, and it's disappointing, you know, when you see that you come down 4600ths behind. However, you know, we are comparing him to Frederick.
Yeah.
These guys have got fantastic starts, fantastic equipment. He's a fantastic driver. You know, all three of those, you're going to be doing well. But no, that was a solid run from the Latvians, so I'm sure they'll be looking to improve on the next run with their push start and tidying up some small mistakes in the drive.
Start looked okay, didn't it? Everybody on board?
Yeah, a little slip there you can see by number 3, but they get down, they handle it well. he comes over, just gets brushed away there into entrance 9, whips round.
And all those little tiny taps off the side of the wall, added together, just cost time.
Yeah, and we're in a sport that's separated by hundreds, so every tap does have an impact.
So the 2017 world champion, Hansi Lochner, is next to go. Silver medalist in the 2022 Olympics in 2 and 4-man. Florian Bauer, Eric Bruckert and Georg Fleischhauer, the brakemen. And they've got to try to beat that 53.58 to go second, or a 53.12 would put them top and give them a new track record. Let's see how they do. 5.00 is the start time to beat. Big push. Hansi Lochner leaps on board, clock ticks. Are they going to get close to 5? They've equalled it off the start. Now, how was corner 0? Was that good enough?
Yeah, but second best velocity, so let's see how that impacts him now in this top half of the track. Lochner has been doing so well, especially in the 2-man. Him and George have been flying on the start. Let's see if he can drive this back.
500s down then, so second best time at that first split.
A little late out of 4 then, but nicely.
700s down, bit more time hemorrhaged into the Kreisel. Doesn't look quite as tidy as Frederick's run maybe, but let's see. He's losing time rather than buying it back. Yeah, 1200s adrift now.
Yeah, and you will just bleed time if you have some small mistakes at the top of the track. Good-looking labyrinth, though.
Second, I think, beckons, doesn't it? If he can get ahead of Sipoulis, I don't think he's going to challenge Frederick. Let's see. Up to the line. Clock stops. He does go second. 53.29.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been hoping to be a little bit closer to Frederick on that first heat. But look, this game is all about consistency. So consistent 4 runs, and he'll be fine.
And as you make the point, we're talking about hundredths of a second all the time here. So the second German crew to go and second fastest. So it is Francesco Frederick with that 53.12 time and a new track record, who is top at the moment.
So impressive how these massive athletes load into such small spaces. You know, these guys are like 6'4", 105 kilos, but they load into that like they're nothing.
Big upper body strength, of course, as well. So, yeah, you're right. They'll all squeeze on board. And the next team to go will be Switzerland. Simon Friedli, Dominic Schläfer, Luca Roli and Andreas Haas will be the crew members. And Simon Friedli, third in the 2016 World Championships. 8 appearances this will now make. And third in that last World Cup round at Altenberg. So, huge amount of experience about to get on board that sled. But they've got to try and get close to that 5-second start time. Here they go. Big support from the fans at the top of the run. Jump on board. How close to 5 seconds? 10th down, 5.10.
Oh, and a little skid out of 0, but he gets it back on track.
Through the Omega Curva. Still, of course, at the top of the run. We've not really got the speed building yet because it's only after 9 that it really starts to plunge downhill. What can Friedli do? At that first split, 27.7 is the target. He does a 28.1. 4/10 down already. That's quite a lot of time to have lost.
It is, and unfortunately that will keep growing now down the track. He's 4th best speed, so he's not going to be gaining any time back at the moment. And he's taken a skid into 11. Makes 11 difficult to handle, but he's done a very good job, and the labyrinth has looked pretty tidy. So, yeah, but he's, 6/10 back, but we are, again, comparing him to the German sled.
He's the slowest thus far, 4th of the 4, 53.85. There'll be big frustration in the sled there, won't there?
I'm sure there will be. They'll have to go back and have a look at where they can improve for the second heat, but they're very experienced as a crew. Friedli's a fantastic driver. Swiss have a great setup, so I'm sure they'll come back strong in the second heat.
Absolutely. So 2 runs this morning and then the final 2 tomorrow afternoon to determine who is going to be world champion for 2024. A little bit high there.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to bring it out a little bit too early, which means then you get a little bump of pressure at the end, and then it's caused a little skid and a tap into 11. It's so frustrating with this sport. Sometimes you'll do a line that you've never done before and you'll think, why did I do that? But there's so many variables, and it's a fast sport as well, so being able to make decisions under pressure is a tough one.
Absolutely are split-second decisions as well as the Team Baumgartner crew gets ready. Patrick Baumgartner, Eric Fantazzini, Robert Mercier and Lorenzo Bilotti. The Italians then, very experienced driver is Patrick Baumgartner. His 6th appearance, 10th last year, his best. And the Italian sled.
He's been having a fantastic season. It's really nice to see because they have improved massively over the last couple of seasons. So let's see what they've got for us in the start. We know he can drive, so if these boys can give him a good start, they'll be right in the mix.
The mock wheels painted on the side of the sled. They're in.
Nice load.
5.13, so that's the slowest start time yet. That puts the pressure on Baumgartner to try to rebuild the run down the hill now and see what he can do, really, to threaten that fourth time of Friedli.
Yeah, and he did have the fourth best velocity, so, you know, he might be close to Friedli there. Let's see how he handles the drive and whether he can claw back some time.
Fifth at the first split. What about the second? Fifth there as well. So the time isn't being clawed back yet, but he's about to enter the part of the run where you can go much faster. Yeah,
it does go. See, third best speed. So now it will start to go downhill on the track from here, but hopefully not in his drive.
So 53.12, new track record. He's not going to meet that, is he, with a 6/10 of a second loss. Baumgartner then up towards the line. Is it fourth? Is it fifth? It's fourth.
Nice.
53.81. 400s better than Friedli.
Yeah, good job. You see, he just cut out the last part of that finish corner there, and people are at risk of doing a victory roll on that corner because if you come out too soon, you will create too much pressure and the sled will flip over, but he did that very well.
And a big crowd here at Winterberg this morning. Very chilly conditions, but the sun has broken through. That sunshine we've had a lot of in the last few days, to the point that, in fact, they had the blinds down over the side of the run, didn't they, to try to keep the sunshine off the ice. This morning we've had cloud, fog, but come race time, the sun is out.
Yeah, and you just saw that tap there before corner zero, and that will impact on the velocity. And he will have known that, you know, and sometimes that little bit of extra adrenaline, because you know you've made a mistake at the start, makes you focus even more on the rest of the track.
Well, Frederick Baumgartner go away and have a think about all of that. As attention next turns to Cedric Follodor, his third World Championship appearance, 9th last year. And along with Omar Vergler making his debut, Dominic Schmidt and Gregory Jones, the former pole vaulter at number 4, they are underway. And 5 seconds is the start time to beat. 5.19, that I'm afraid is the slowest yet. Down to the Oberger curve and then turn 2. 77 kilometres an hour on entry through that long right. 4/10 down already, not great.
No, it's a shame, you know, the Swiss have had a hard time since Altenberg especially, but they are proving that they are a strong team still. They are very much in the mix, and I just hope that he gets this down clean now and he can stay in that top 10 after heat 1.
But he's 6th in all of the splits thus far, and he's only the 6th bob down the hill, so it's not looking great, sad to say, for Cedric Follodor.
It's not, and you know, by general public eye, you'll be looking at this drive thinking, well, it doesn't look that bad,
yeah.
But there's just some small mistakes, and unfortunately in this sport, small mistakes cost a significant amount of time.
53.99 puts him 6th fastest. In other words, the slowest of the 6 that have gone so far. But of course, as you start to go through this order, they'll end up being ahead, no doubt, of some of the lower-ranked drivers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The fascination comes, doesn't it, on that second run where you reverse the order of this first heat and you build up to the quicker one. It's always a great finish.
Yeah, it gets very exciting. After heat 1, you know, it can shuffle around quite a lot, and you can see some people having a storming first run, and then they have a real nightmare of a second run, and it can drop them 4 or 5 places.
Well, Markus Treichel is going to be the next one to go for Austria, as the teams that have already been have a quick look at the timing screen, check where they are.
You see the back skidding there, and unfortunately in this sport, that's like putting the brake on.
Well, there is Team Treichel, Markus Treichel, Sascha Stepan, Markus Sammer and Christian Huber, former decathletes, ready to go. And for Markus Treichel, the former luge competitor, 7th last year, coached by Franz Esterhammer, started back in 2011, 6th World Championship appearance. And the team, having gone through that ritual, is good to go. And as the clock starts, they've got that 60-second time grace before they have to push. They do now. The first 15 metres irrelevant, then they trigger the beam. That's when the start clock begins, and 5 seconds the target. 5.08, 4th best.
Very good load, a great start time for Treichel and his boys.
Now they've got to keep it clean, haven't they? Not tap the wall too much, not lose any time, because they could be on for a decent finish here. Yeah,
keep it nice and tidy up here, and I'm sure he will actually come down with a respectable position.
Yeah, 4th in that first split. Let's see what the second one heralds. Coming up to that in a moment. 4th again.
This is looking very good up top. Nice line through Kreisel. Gets a little bit of pressure at the end. tap out of 8 into 9. See how he handles exit 9. Yeah, pretty good.
Sectors, yeah. So he's there or thereabouts, isn't he?
Yeah. Just needs to hold this together. And not overdrive this last part of the track because it is going uphill.
Now let's see what he can do. 4th is the answer. I was about to suggest he might be able to have a go at Seibas. Well, 53.73 is the time, so it puts him 4th behind the Latvian. But I think they'll be pretty pleased with that. Going 7th and having the 4th best time, that's good.
Yeah, a solid run. And I did notice in training he was having some good training runs, actually. We get timing sheets after all the training runs, so you can kind of see where people are at, but you never know what people are doing in training with their runners and pushes and things like that. But no, solid run.
It didn't look to be too many errors either. Maybe a little close to the wall there.
So you just see he catches a little bit of pressure at the end, and that'll just be he's created too much pressure through the exit of Kreisel. And then unfortunately that pushes him a little bit flatter in 8, and he comes round, too far around 8 and takes a little tap before exit 9, but entry 9, but he exited the corner very nicely.
And the Team Tricle fans pretty content with that, aren't they, as well? It's great to have all this support, isn't it? In training, it must feel quite surreal when there's hardly anybody here. But come race day, all the colour, all the noise, and that's about to greet the Chinese team. Sun Kaiji, Ding Song, Yi Zhilong and Ding Yunda are ready to go. And 20th back in 2019 was Sun Kaiji, but he was pretty good in training in the week. So let's see where the start time puts them. Only 7th, though, 5.17.
Yeah, so for the people at home watching the 4-man bob, the usual order is obviously you have your pilot at the front, and then you have your 2 big, strong, powerful athletes on the side, and then usually your sprinter at the back. He is the last person to get in, so he needs a little bit more leg speed.
Now, how's this looking? Because that was 7th start, 7th in the first split, and 7th again at the second split, so...
Nice exit 6 there. He does avoid the tap into Kreisel. Oh, but it does take a little skid there into 8. And often taking a little tap is much better than taking a skid.
7th, 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 7th in the splits all the way down the run. So it looks as though here Sun Kaiji is going to end up the slowest. Let's see. Comes out of the Zeal curva up towards the finish line now. 7th it is, 53.98. I'll be disappointed with that.
So just 100th in front of Follador. So it will be all to play for in the next heat.
And the next crew will be another of the Latvians with Jakabs Kalender as the driver. Let's have a look at the start of the Chinese team. How was that? Seemed to be okay.
Yeah, it looks like number 4 struggled to get the handles in there. And you know, how much that impacts, we won't really know, but we know it is better to get it done smoothly, quickly and efficiently.
Tiny skid there you just caught a glimpse of. Let's see what happens there, going towards 9. Okay. Thumbs up, but a slightly resigned thumb up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was okay, but we can do better.
So, Jakabs Kalender, the former rower, who crashed in the first heat of last year's World Championships, didn't make it into that top 20. Started in bobsleigh in 2021, and his second World Championship appearance, hoping for better fortunes than in Samoritz last year. Edgar's Ungers, Davis Kaufmanis and Maris Klaver behind him. Right, let's see how good this start is. 5 seconds is the start time to aim for as they jump on board. 5.17. So that is the 7th best start time. So Kalender really now needs to try and somehow claw back that time, if at all possible, in that second half of the run. The first split keeps him 7th as well, so no real improvement coming yet.
Yeah, and it looks like number 2 is sitting just as high as the pilot there. His helmet is, you can see, just behind the pilot. I'm not sure whether they can actually get down any lower, but it's always about the arrows as well with the crew.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little bump there, but takes a tiny skid into 11, handles it nicely through 11. Oh, little late there out of 12. Small flop off of 13. Bit of a wave here.
The safe, the 9th on a 54.01. But yeah, it just got a little bit more ragged, didn't it, towards the end of the run. That's the slowest time so far, 54.01.
Yeah, that is 200 slower behind Follador. So Let's see how that holds up against the rest of the field. And of course, we're looking at this start order because the start order is done off of the world rankings, and that can be done because you've entered certain races that other people haven't entered. You've done well in some races, like we spoke about Brad Hall and the boys. You know, they're one of the best teams in the world, but they're going off 17th because they've missed a few races this season, and unfortunately that's what will happen. Same with myself yesterday. I went off 18th, but I had only done, I think, 3 of the races this season, so...
Yeah, but look at the run that you did. I mean, that might be a good omen for Brad and the boys.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And the track doesn't seem to be deteriorating that much here, so that is great news.
Just reflect on that track record, first led down the run. Is that a surprise?
You know, it's never a surprise when the Germans lay down the start record or a track record, so... but it's always nice to see, and it's always pushing boundaries, you know. If they're always going to be winning, they need to be setting themselves goals, which is just to continue to break the records.
So Li Chunjian, Wei Peng, Zhu Zhilong, Zhen Heng, the next quartet ready to go. Li Chunjian 14th in last year's World Championships. A good push, absolutely vital here. Let's see what it is going to be. The crew loads, 5 seconds to aim for, 5.19.
Just saw the back kick out a little bit then as the brakemen were getting in. The 9th best velocity there.
So down the run comes Li Chunjian.
A little high there.
Yeah, 4/10 drift.
Pushes him late into 4. Catches that expansion gap then, entry 5. Not bad from 6 to 7 though. And looks like a fairly tidy line through Kreisel. Gets nudged away slightly from 9. But he comes into 11 fairly clean. Crosses over into 12, now in the labyrinth. Little flop off the end, but nothing major. You are going so fast down that part of the track. And a nice exit, so he did okay.
54.16 is 10th and over a second slower than Francesco Frederick. So it didn't look too bad, but the clock would argue.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, are they using a new sled here? You know, I might be completely wrong, but as it's white, I assume if it was something they've been sliding in for a while, it would be wrapped in red. But, you know, this is what makes you question. He wasn't too far off the starts with, you know, he matched Follador on the start. He was only 200ths behind his teammates Sun and Calendar. So is it equipment? Is it runner selection? You know, is he overdriving? Because it wasn't, it wasn't a horrendous run. He had a few mistakes, but most people take a few mistakes along the track. He'll have to have a look and hopefully come back stronger in Heat 2.
Well, the order so far, Francesco Frederick by 0.17 from Hansi Lochner, Emil Sepoulis 3rd, and then Simon Kreikel is ahead of Patrick Baumgartner and Simon Friedli 6th. Adam Amour, Issam Amour, along with Benedikt Hertel and Rupert Schenk underway. Another German crew and a 5.05 off the start. Now that is good.
Nice, yeah. We are going to see him, I'm sure, finish in that top group.
Yeah, that's the 3rd best start time, isn't it? So he's there or thereabouts.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic season. He's had some amazing results in the 2-man at the European Championships. Him and his brother are forming a very nice crew. And I'm very impressed, you know. He's not been around as long as Frederick and Lochner on the World Championship circuit, but he is performing very well. You know, a little tap then into 8, but handles it well out of 9.
2-man European champions this year, the brothers Amour, heading up then towards the end of the run, out of the labyrinth now, and towards the Zeal Curva. So where is this going to put them? Is this going to put them into the top 3? It might, no! 4th quickest in the end, 53.70, but that was not half bad.
Yeah, he did only have 8th best speed coming around that final corner, so he was losing speed there, and that actually could have started from his exit Kreisel, entry into 8. And unfortunately, if you kill the speed that you've just built at the top of the track before you even get to the fast part of the track, then you're likely going to just bleed time.
Yeah, for a time, it looked as though 3rd was on, but a skid there that pushes him wide.
And he handled the exit well, considering the line he took in. But do you see the skid? Do you see the back kicking out there? It's not going to be good for his speed.
You can tell how wide he was because all the ice showers the camera lens there.
Yeah. Yeah, you could tell. He knows there's improvement there.
But even so, 4th, having started where he did at 11th, that is quite a turnaround. 12th to go would have been Mihai Christian Tentea, but he has withdrawn, so we turn to the Rona Bulls Bob team. Timo Rona, Nicola Mariani, Matthew Hersberger and Quentin Juillat are next to go.
Yeah, this is a fantastic opportunity for Timo and his crew. You know, he got the last-minute call-up due to the unfortunate events in Altenburg, but I hope these boys do well with their opportunity on the World Championships.
5:00 is the start time to aim for. 5.22 is, in comparison, quite a chunk lost. 12th off the start.
Yeah, Timo is a great driver, so let's see what he can do with that start.
0.47 down at the first split. So we've said it before, but now the pressure is on the driver to try to claw back that time. Where is it? Where can it be found? It's in the second part of the track, but you haven't got that much track left by that stage.
No, and unfortunately when you are starting 2 tenths behind the leader, it's such an ask. Like, you see it in the women's races as well, you know, big skid into 11 there. You know, we say it all the time. Unfortunately, when there's more than 2 tenths at the start, you're really going to struggle to get anything back, even if you had a perfect drive.
So 54.2, it is 12th in the times. That means it's the slowest, but they can build on that.
Yeah, they can. And like I said, they weren't expecting this opportunity, but I'm sure that they'll want to do even better.
So Timo Rona's crew, having been 12th pretty much all the way down every sector, so you could argue it was consistent, but it just was not fast enough. Now, whether that is down to the driver, whether that is down to the push, or a combination of the two, they'll go away, they'll discuss and try and work out what they can do. A little bit high there.
Yeah, and quite a whippy entry there. I'm not sure whether he's come on and checked too abruptly or he's entered the corner a little bit late, but yeah, not the most ideal line around 9. But I bet these boys had their last Europa Cup race and they switched off for the season. That was it, they were done. You know, get called back into work and you've got to get back into it. So, well done, boys.
See how they go later on. Of course, the second run coming up a little bit later this morning. So for Austria, Jakob Mandlauer is going to be the next one to go. The former decathlete started his bobsleigh career in 2018. 18th in the Monobob competition last week. Second World Championship appearance. Visor down, all eyes on that push. Hands on the handles, 5.00 to beat as the start time. Spikes are ready to grip. Big push comes. How good is it going to be? Down to corner 0, let's see. Mandelbaum leaps on board, clock ticks, and it's a 5.25. Slowest start time yet.
You know, the boys left it really, really late then to get down in their load, so I'm impressed with how he handled corner 0. So if the brakemen get in and they don't get in perfectly still and they kind of hold on to one handle or something like that, it can send the sled into a skid.
That compromises the start, doesn't it? Those first few corners at the relatively flat top of the hill before the run really does plunge down. There's a 110-metre vertical drop from the start to the finish. Maximum gradient here, 15.5%. The average is 9.8. Yeah, very wide there, but recovered.
Yeah, recovered well.
So Mandelbaum 13th in the splits. Looks like it is going to be the slowest time. A little bit wide there as well through the labyrinth. The Zeal curver is the last corner up towards the line, and 13th it is, 54.45.
Yeah, 13th best start, 13th down at the bottom. It does just show you that if you can lay down a good start, then it's going to give you a little advantage. But, you know, you could be the best starter in the world, but if you drive awfully and you hit everything, then you're unlikely going to finish in the top group. But if you've got all three, a good start, a good drive and good equipment, it's a winning formula, isn't it?
It is, and it's one of the good ones. Make it look so easy, isn't it, as well? Probably watching the likes of Frederick and Lochner, thinking, well, they make it look so easy, why can't I do that? But it's all down to experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit high there, but kept it in check.
Yeah,
and they're all smiles.
Yeah, and I think that I'm really bad at this sometimes, but you have to be realistic with where you are in your career, where you've come from, and you have to be happy with, you know, the journey. You can't be expecting to win everything straight away.
The noisy Czech fans for Mateusz Bohonek's team up at the top with Mikkel Dobeš, David Bureš, Antonin Vajas behind, and 5 seconds that start time. How is Bohanek? 2/10 down, not too bad.
No! Oh no! Oh, that wasn't good.
The start time was okay, but after that it's all unravel, hasn't it? And this is just a kind of line through the run.
Look, you know, he's 5,500, over half a second back already. And that's going to be, that's so late. It's going to be so hard to recover anything here.
Way wide up the wall, time lost, can't make it up. The lines aren't good.
Oh, no.
The mental state in there now must be fascinating because they know they've blown it.
He's a second back now.
They're still struggling to get the composure on.
Oh, this is not his best run. This is such a shame. And you know what? A very tidy labyrinth, but by this point it's useless because of that corner zero. And then start, you know, the mistakes that he knows straight away. He just shook his head. And yeah, do you know, it's about when you mess up corner zero, you have to get your mind straight back on focus, because you need to then make no mistakes down the track. And unfortunately, he made a few too many there.
Had a crash in training, didn't he, during the week as well, so it's been a tough few days for Matej Bohanek, and it's just got no better. Right, talk us through the start.
So these boys are great athletes, and David, he's doing a great job there. They load fairly... Yeah, they took a tap there. Oh, and they've hit there, and then he skidded the entire way. Oh, it's heartbreaking. Because he will know.
It's not your day.
No, and he will know. From that moment, he will know that he has lost so much.
But it was like a pinball, wasn't it? You tap the wall once, fires you to the other side, fires you to the other side, and you just bounce and bounce and bounce. So. And
I think what people actually sometimes at home, they think that there's grooves all the way down the track. The amount of people that have been surprised that there's no grooves, and I'm like, well, no, that's why you have to drive it.
Of course.
And everyone's lines are different.
This is how we look. Frederick, Lochner, Seibas, Amor, Treichel, the top 5. Next to go is the Dutch solicitor, Dave Wesseling, with Janko Frederick, Jehan Frederick, and Stefan Heising-Tvelt behind.
Yeah. Come on then, boys. They always have the capability of producing a good push. And these two brothers here, Janko and Jelen, fantastic athletes.
5.14 is a pretty decent start time. It's an 8th, so better than some. Wesseling, who got the IBSF Challenge Cup last weekend in 2-man as the best World Championship debutant, looking to improve now in 4-man.
Yeah, and he has the potential to get down this track very, very well. But this is a fairly new crew. These guys used to slide with Evo, now being passed on to Dave, and they're having a great first season together.
So half a second down, but don't forget they've got a low ranking, and Wesseling trying to piece it together. Maybe a touch wide there, skims the wall. Line coming towards the labyrinth, but then it taps the wall on the exit of that corner.
Yeah, you could see he was just a little bit low where he wanted to be high, which is going to throw you up at the end.
So he's gone from 8th off the start to 13th in that last split, and 13th at the end of the run as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they are, you know, he's happy to have gotten down because he had some little issues in training. You see a little eye roll there. He knows he can do better. But look, they got down. They've got another race now. They've got another heat to go. Aww. He's got a little baby at home.
That's another great thing about this. Everybody, when they finish, always has a word for the camera or a smile or a message to people back home, especially when you consider how many different nations there are taking part in the World Championships. 14 nations within the 4-man bob, for example, this weekend.
Yeah, and I think that just reminds you of how much a commitment this sport is. You know, you can be away from home for 5-6 months a year, but, you know, we still have normal lives. We still have family. We still have friends, but we hardly ever get to see those people.
And perhaps even worse for the likes of the Australians that are living on the other side of the world. I know you can't nip home after every round either because of the cost involved, but it's even worse for the Australians.
It is, and I often speak to Sarah about when she's going to go home. She's like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I can afford it. You know, a lot of these teams are self-funded. Right, here they are. Here's the boys. Let's see what they got for us.
So Brad Hall back after injury, and that's having missed a few rounds. That's why it's a low ranking.
Come on, boys. What have you got?
5 seconds off the start, 5:07. That's decent enough, isn't it?
Yeah, look, these guys haven't raced much at all this season. Greg's been injured, Brad's had spinal surgery, but Leon has proved himself as a very worthy member of this crew. Big Tay is always reliable, always lays it down. Come on,
Big
let's see
Tay,
what
we
they've
should
got.
point out, is Taylor Lawrence, Royal Marine, who earlier this week got a promotion. He's now Lance Corporal.
Yay.
Taylor Lawrence within the Royal Marines. Greg Cackett at the back. And they are 5th, then 4th, then 6th from start to split 1 to split 2. So they're going to be within that top half dozen seemingly, but where will they end up? They're 6th at the moment after the 3rd split, so it's good. Can they find a bit more time?
Come on, Brad. Nice.
Into the Zeal curver. The clock's going to stop in a moment. It's going to stop for the British crew. 8th. Fell away in the last couple of corners for whatever reason. 53.92. That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. You see Aaron and Luca there. Do you know, it's a bit of a bittersweet one for Luca Williams. He is such a fantastic athlete. He's one of our youngest members, but he's actually been called up to be Brad's spare.
Right.
But it means he can't race with Adam Baird. And it's one of those bittersweet moments. What an opportunity to be Brad Hall's spare in such an early stage of his career. But we don't get to see him race, but I'm sure in the future he'll show us everything he's got. Right, these boys look like they are doing a great job here. They load in, but they've not had the opportunity to push 100%, and Brad's taken a big hit there.
Yeah, that costs time, doesn't it, straight off. So
Yeah.
they were, what, 5th away from the start, but 8th at the end of the run. So there was another error somewhere, seemingly, that cost that time.
Yeah. I know what Brad's like. He'll be so frustrated with this, but he'll be able to look back and analyse it. Yeah. Yeah, he will come back stronger. Brad has such a good understanding of this. Like, he's like a wizard with driving. I always go to him and I'm like an annoying little sister. I'm like, Brad, please help.
Help. But that's going to put them in the top 10, isn't it, for the next run. So they're making steps forward as we turn next to Mattia Varioli. So the second of the Italian crew is underway. Still that 5-second start time is the target. How close to that are they going to get? 5.21 and another rattle off the wall and a skid.
That was a big hit there. But number 2 looked like he was leaning over the pilot, so much so that could Variola even see corner 0 then?
0.6 of a second down, very nearly 0.7. So hard to not only recover the time, but to get your head sorted out again.
Yeah, like I said, this is all about taking it one corner at a time and then leaving it behind you. If you're still thinking about corner 4 when you're on corner 5, you're doing it wrong.
So right now, 17th in the splits and 17th, it looks as though slowest is going to be Mattia Variola, and there'll be massive frustration in that sled as well. Through the labyrinth, flops down into the Zeal curver, up towards the timing line, and is it going to be slowest? The answer is yes, it is, 54.91, and we know why, don't we?
They did not look happy. But, you know, the bottom half of that track wasn't even that bad, but again, if you've ruined the top, you're just not going to be able to claw anything back. That's a shame.
Applause from the crowd, but muted applause in comparison with 1 or 2 of the efforts that we've had thus far. And yes, they'll all be frustrated about that, won't they?
Yeah.
So let's have another look at this start. We were talking about the number 2 brakeman towering over when they'd all jumped in.
Yeah.
So let's have another look. In they get.
Oh,
Bang.
Oh no.
Bang.
Oh no. Oh, that's not ideal. Yeah, and see, this is why it's so important, and, you know, I was speaking to Kaya, my brake woman, about this. That load, it has, yes, run it far, be efficient, get in, but get in and sit still.
Yes.
And if you hang on, and I think with a 4-man it's even harder because there's more people to get in, but if you're hanging on to the handles and your weight's one side more than the other.
Pitching the sled sideways.
Yeah.
Alexei Boron will be next for Poland. His 4-man World Championship debut. BTC sled then good to go, and we are heading towards the final handful in this first heat. So now let's see what the Polish team can do, where this is going to put them off the start. Still that 5-second time is the target, 5.29, and they're barely in as they get to corner 0.
Oh, and you know, I've been so impressed with Alexei. He's such a lovely guy, and he's been doing well, but they did need to get down sooner than that.
That was all a bit messy, to say the least, wasn't it?
Yeah, and look, they're 8/10 back, and then they're in corner 3 and 4, so...
Well, they're going to be slowest, aren't they? I think it's sad to say. We know what's going to be
up
here, over a second down already.
Yeah, this is not going to be what he wanted for his first heat of this World Championships.
All of them needing to be in that top 20 by the end of heat 3, and a second and a half adrift.
You see him actually go on to corner 10 then, which a lot of sleds don't do. Oh, that was a bit wild. Oh, this is... Oh, he's recovered that well. That was quite wild between 11 and 12 there.
So So over the line, 82
Oh, wow.
seconds to drift, 55.31, and scowls at the top of the hill. Not happy
Yeah,
at all.
do you know when I come over the finish line and I can see the screen at the bottom? Sometimes I can't even see the time, but I see the coaches' reactions. And yesterday, when I came down, I could see them clap, and I was like, oh, I think we're in the top 10.
Who needs clocks?
Yeah.
Well, they force a smile, but this is where it all went wrong. So the driver, Alexei Baron, leaps in, but then the brakemen can't get in.
No.
A massive delay look as number 3 gets in.
Yeah. Oh! Oh, no!
And number 4 has to have a second go.
Yeah, but that, you know, that is just not what you want.
No.
Wow.
And it's all wrong from there on in, isn't it?
Lucky he actually managed to get in. At least he qualifies for a second run.
It's true.
Because if the brakeman doesn't get in, you don't qualify.
Yeah, you need all 4 athletes on board, don't you, at the finish. Right,
Yeah.
for Team Austin, Taylor Austin is next, the former footballer, winner of the North American Cup back in the 21-22 season, 13th last year. And there's some big guys here for a big push for Canada.
Yeah, it's good to see these guys back competing with the world's best. I think they've been spending some time on the NAC this year.
So 18th off the start, looked like a good push, but not a great time. Also a tap off the wall at corner 0. So Taylor Austin now trying to make amends for that. 0.54 of a second down. So 15th, they have found a bit of time within that first split.
Yeah, and I think because of how they handled corner 0, we should see him sitting ahead of a couple of these teams at the bottom, but let's see how he handles this. 14th best speed there.
Still 15th in the times.
Nice entry into corner 9. Not the best camera angle there. Oh, lovely entry out of 9. Great line through 11. Lovely exit 12. Small flop, but nothing major. Still 14th best speed.
And where's that going to put him in the times? 16th is the answer, 54.52.
Yeah, look, Lyndon and Cripps are happy. You know, 18th start, 16th at the bottom, so he's outdriven his start.
And 3 more to go. Britain, America, and Liechtenstein still have representatives, so it is going to be Adam Baird to go next as the Canadians leap out and reflect on that run.
And Adam Baird and his crew are a brand new crew for this World Championship. So I mentioned in the Lillehammer World Cup races that Austin was missing due to injury, previous American football player, and he is back, he's fit, he's in the sled, and I really want to see these boys lay down a good performance. Completely self-funded team.
Indeed. Yes, Adam Baird having had a real shuffle of crew. This is the order. Francesco Frederick ahead of Hansi Lochner, Emil Sipulis 3rd, Adam Amour 4th, Marcus Treichel 5th, Patrick Baumgartner rounds out the top 6. And there is the very patriotically liveried sled of ads. Adam Baird, Graham Richardson in the foreground, Jens Huller, Austin Millwood, Callum Dixon, the rest of the crew.
Yeah. And when we talk about self-funding, you know, it's not like paying £5 to enter a training facility. We're talking about £50,000-60,000 he has to find a season. So come on, boys, let's see what you can put down. They've been doing some fantastic stuff in training. They really, really want this. Adam
Baird, powerlifter, rugby player, bobslayer. Let's see what he can do now then. The big push required starts now. 5 seconds is the time to beat. They also need to be aiming for Brad Hall's 5.07 by way of a guide. Yes. And towards corner 0, it's a 5.27.
But that load was probably as nice as they could have asked for, and he's handled corner 0 lovely. Late entry into 2, which is exactly what he wanted. He has been driving this track so well. It's a shame he didn't get to drive the 2-man last week. Obviously, GB only had 2 spots, but he is getting an opportunity now to show us what he can do in this 4-man.
Okay, 18th out of the second split, 14th best speed.
This is actually Austin's first race ever, so what a way to make your debut. A lovely exit 9, fantastic line through 11. Nice, this is a really, really good drive. 15th best speed here.
And where's the time going to put them up to the line? It's going to put them 17th, 54.57.
Yeah, and you know, look, 19th start, 17th down. He has outdriven their start time.
Yeah.
And I know these boys can push faster.
He was saying to me this morning, top 15 would be the target, but he's nearly there.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think for a debut with a brand new crew, this isn't his own sled, so he's renting the sled. This crew have never pushed together before. you can't be unrealistic with your expectations. And he'll be looking back at that drive, and there's not a lot to change there. They just need to push faster.
Yeah. And that synergy of new people all working together, and that'll come, won't it, the more experience they get. So nice line through the Kreisel there.
Yeah.
Headed a little bit high, but he was able to recover from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's pretty happy with that.
Content, I think we'd say, wouldn't
And he's got his Royal Marines race suit on there, representing them.
So 2 to go. Frank Del Duca, Adrian Adams, Matteo Mitchell and Hakim Abdul Sabur are going to be for Team Del Duca. The Americans next. 5th was Frank Del Duca and Matteo Mitchell last week in 2-man. A long way down in terms of a start rank, but let's see what the time is going to be come the end. 5 seconds the start time to aim for, and a 5.14, that's good.
Yeah, this is good. And Frank Del Duca is just proven himself as a great driver. I've been very, very impressed with this season so far. Let's see what he can do. His 2-man's gone fantastically, and I'm sure that his 4-man will soon be up there with that.
Soldier, Frank Del Duca, occasional car racer in autocross style events, and 15th in 2017, his best World Championship result. This is his 3rd appearance.
Oh, big skid there, into 8, come around a little bit too far, takes a tap before 9.
9th best start, 15th currently, so he's lost time in the early part of the run.
Yeah, and it does just show you how he was 5th in the 2-man World Championships last weekend, and it shows how differently these sleds handle. You know, you have to adapt, and not necessarily the best 2-man driver is going to be the best 4-man driver. Same with the women's mono and 2-woman.
Well, the net result of all of that for Frank Del Duca is 18th, and I think they'll be disappointed with that because it started off looking pretty decent, and then time was lost. So again, as they clamber out, there's that element of resignation. You know you've done well when people leap out to celebrate and congratulate each other.
Yeah, I'm sure that he'll want to improve on that, but you know, he is coming over here, learning all these European tracks. I'm sure when we go over there to North America, he'll be the one to watch.
So one more crew to go, and that is the Liechtenstein squad with Martin Krantz as the driver. The Americans helmets off.
Appreciate the support.
Thumbs up, and message for everybody back home. Right, there's the Liechtenstein crew. Martin Krantz, David Schurfen, Lawrence Lenher and Martin Betschler ready to go.
So these guys had a bit of a nightmare in the Summer Ritz World Cup. Number 2 and 3 kind of shoulder barged each other, and one of them didn't get in the sled. Oh. So let's see what they've got for us now.
Debut in the 4-man World Championships then for the Liechtenstein crew.
There we go.
That's okay, isn't it? That's nice and neat.
Yeah, the timing was better there.
5.4. So it's slow, sadly, 22nd, but at least they're in, they're safe, they can try to recover some of that time. But in fairness, the Liechtenstein crew, they're not going to be aiming for a win, are they?
No, it's a small nation representing their country and doing the best they can with what they've got. And if that's the best they've got, then let's see what they can do on the drive.
So over a second adrift now, 21st this promises to be. The target really is to get ahead of Alexei Boron, isn't it, after the Polish driver's travails earlier on.
Yeah, there's always going to be small packs of competition, you know. You've probably got number 1 down to 8 that maybe are in a competition, and then again then down to maybe 14, and then 15 to 20, and you're all in competition with your peer group as such.
21st is the answer. 55.22 then is the time. So penultimate ahead of Boron. So mission accomplished in that respect. 23 we were going to have, 22 start with the withdrawal of the Romanian squad. So again, it's a team that can build on that. So Martin Krantz will be content if not pleased.
Yeah, and it just shows you the impact that corner 0 can have. So the Polish team started a 5.29, Liechtenstein started a 5.40, but they handled corner 0 very well. And unfortunately, it's gonna put you above someone that started much quicker if they didn't.
True enough. There's the evidence of it. So Martin Krantz content with that run. But happier than anybody will be Francesco Frederick. Not only is he the fastest, a new track record as well. So one run of the 4 down, and a 53.12 is the time. And you can put that time and underline it in red because it is the new track record here for Winterberg, and 1700ths of a second quicker than Hansi Lochner, who is second, and Emils Sapoulis, who is third. Great start to this 4-man Bob World Championships for Team Francesco Frederick. got a huge amount of supporters as well trackside, and they have enjoyed watching that, and he's going to do it all over again. But of course they will go in reverse for Heat 2. This is the order then. Francesco Frederick ahead of Hansi Lochner and Emil Sipoulis. Adam Amour 4th, Marcus Treichel 5th, Patrick Baumgartner 6th from Simon Friedli, and Brad Hall rounding out the top 8. Good effort, although it's 0.8 of a second spread of times. 9th, Sun Kai-ji from Cedric Follador, and 11th, Jakobs Kalender. Li Chun-jian is ahead of Timo Rona, Dave Vesselink. 15th, Jakob Mandelbaur and Taylor Austin, the Canadian. 16th, ahead of Adam Baird. Then Frank Del Duca, Matej Bohanek and Mattia Barriola is 20th. Martin Krantz next, and Alexei Boron rounds out the 22-strong field. So perhaps as anticipated, it is Francesco Frederick then who tops the times at the end of the first run, and a new track record. First man down the track and a new record set as well. And that is certainly going to give the opposition plenty to think about going into the second run, which will be coming up in about an hour or so's time here from Winterberg. It's a German 1-2 after the first run. Thanks for your company. We'll see you later on from the Del Nickel and David Addison. It's goodbye from Winterberg.